Hey everyone, welcome back to Herb Rally. I'm your host, Mason Hutchison. Today's episode is another edition of the Herbalist Hour, and this time I'm joined by Leanne Hatfield. So, a couple of months ago, Amanda and I drove up to Marquette, Michigan. That's in the upper peninsula of Michigan. It's incredibly beautiful up there. And we had the opportunity to visit Seeds and Spores Family Farm. And Leanne is one of the co-owners, along with her husband. So during this chat, we learn about the evolution of the farm, Leanne's herbalism background, and we even take a tour of their farm, which is a first for the Herbalist Hour. We actually decided to leave out the herb farm tour on the audio version. We feel it's much better seen on video. So if you'd like to check out the video, I will leave a link in the podcast show notes so you could get the full episode there. And that's probably around 25 minutes of this interview or so. So that's why today's episode appears to be shorter, but it's actually, just watch the full episode on our YouTube channel. Otherwise, enjoy the shortened version on the audio podcast. So we had a wonderful time visiting Seeds and Spores Family Farm. We actually released two other interviews on that Marquette trip, and that is with Raj Vabel. He's the owner of Young Mountain Tea. And we also interviewed Kia Lee Lewis from Botanica Quetzali. So just a fabulous trip, great community up there in Marquette, Michigan. And I really hope you enjoy this one with Leanne. So before we get into the show, I'd love to tell you about Camille Freeman, friend of Herb Rally, her upcoming year-long exploration of nervous system health for advanced herbalists and nutritionists. This is the 2024 Nervous System Deep Dive. The nervous system is involved in virtually any type of healing, and our understanding of how it works continues to evolve. It's complicated, and it's beautiful. We're learning more and more every day about how the nervous system is intertwined with every other system and process in the body. In this year's deep dive, you'll take a closer look at the inner workings of the nervous system and explore a handful of diseases and conditions that primarily affect the nervous system. Even though things are busy and time is tight, you can keep learning and updating your understanding of the nervous system by simply showing up for 1.5 hours each month as you learn together. So the 2024 Nervous System Deep Dive is monthly live trainings designed for advanced practitioners to help you understand neurophysiology and associated clinical strategies. So some of what's included in the Nervous System Deep Dive is 10 training classes, a certificate of completion, access to recordings, slides, reference lists, and other resources. Plus, there's also 2 new bonus classes on marketing and practice management. And as I mentioned, this is taught by Camille Freeman, and we have worked a lot with Camille over the years, and I just can't speak highly enough of her as an educator and as an herbalist. So highly recommend the 2024 Nervous System Deep Dive. I will be sure to leave a link at the very tippy top of the podcast show notes. So thanks to Bloom and Grow for supporting the Herb Rally podcast. Before we get into the show, I'd love to thank our presenting sponsor, and that is, of course, Oshala Farm. If you're looking to purchase organic medicinal herbs, look no further than Oshala Farm at oshalafarm.com. They grow and sell over 80 plant species. So again, if you're looking to purchase culinary or medicinal herbs, definitely check out Oshala Farm. They also started selling hydrosols, organic hydrosols. They've got tea blends, elixirs, and so on. That's oshalafarm.com. Also, a huge thank you to our Herb Rally Schoolhouse members. If you'd like to join these Herbalist Hour interviews live via Zoom, that's one of the perks for our Herb Rally Schoolhouse members. You can learn more at herbrally.com/schoolhouse and use coupon code podcast at checkout to get your first 30 days for free. So one more time, thank you to our Herb Rally Schoolhouse members for your support as well. All right, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for listening to the Herb Rally podcast. Enjoy today's episode with Leanne Hatfield from Seeds and Spores Family Farm. Talk to you soon.
Welcome to the Herbalist Hour. This is where community gather, merging the power of people and flowers, the sweet and the bitter to the salty, the sour. Umami, it's time for the Herbalist Hour.
Welcome back to the Herbalist Hour. Today I'm really excited to have on Leanne Hatfield. Welcome to the show, Leanne.
Thank you.
Yeah. So where are we?
We are at our farm, Seeds and Spores Family Farm. We're in Marquette, Michigan, actually about 12 miles south of Marquette, Michigan. And I can see out over, see some hoop houses and some veggie fields. And
yeah, we came from downtown Marquette, which we're falling in love with this town. We love it here. And you said, enjoy the drive on your text. And I knew right then and there that it was going to be a beautiful drive, which it absolutely was, down Mangum Road. which you said was recently paved, but yeah, just gorgeous. Like the trees were just glowing, orange and yellow and all the colors. I'm colorblind, but I still was able to really take it in and really love it. So what do y'all do here at Spores Family Farm?
Well, we do lots of things. We grow about 5 acres of produce. We have 12 hoop houses. We raise exclusively grass-fed beef. We have pasture-raised pork. We have some pasture-raised laying hens. We do a little bit of small-scale mushroom cultivation and culinary medicinal herbs.
Yeah, I remember when we first started communicating, I didn't know what we were going to see you at the Great Lakes Herb Fair, but that was kind of like a sweet surprise. You were explaining to me that the herb side was more of like, say, your hobby, but are you actually growing and selling medicinal herbs?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I say it's more of my hobby because the rest of the farm is kind of what we do on a day-to-day basis. We have, during the summer, we have like 7 employees that are coming and helping us. But all of the medicinals is my side gig, and it's kind of been a slow and gradual process. But each year I do a little bit more, and this is a small rural community, and it takes a little while for things to kind of catch on. It's really enjoyable, and our land is incredibly biodiverse. So I've learned so much, and I've found so much. Between our riparian zone and woods and fields and the hoop houses, we have all these little micro ecosystems. And so a lot of the things that I do work with are just growing here.
Sure.
Which is really helpful.
Yeah, it makes it easier. Yeah, nature's just handling it for you. So you say like nettle and mullein and stuff like that?
We have a lot of nettles. We have a lot of mullein. You know, like shepherd's purse, like we have pastures of red clover. We grow oats as a cover crop, so I can harvest milky oats and oat straw just from that. And nice. And we're botanical sanctuary.
I saw that.
So,
United Plant Savers.
We have a lot of really cool things that are just growing. And so then when I'm planting things, I always am kind of looking at that list and just trying to establish more of those species.
Do you have an example of one of the species?
We have a lot of bloodroot.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Which is just so fun in the spring, how beautiful that is. I've got a couple different patches. I have like black cohosh. We've got valleys full of leeks of the ramps, which I think is pretty new to the list. But if you were
to the UPS list?
Yeah, but if you were to go for a walk in the spring, you wouldn't, think it was endangered, here.
Right. Ground cover or something?
It's just all over.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've, echinacea species and arnica species and things like that are on the list that I'm just introducing, but a lot of things are already growing here.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of trilliums and
oh, beautiful. I haven't seen a trillium yet since being out here. Lady slippers too? Those are the beautiful orchids. Yeah. What kind of medicinal herbal products are you making with these?
I make a lot of tinctures because that is a really great way just to preserve things. And I make a lot of tea blends, some different salves. This year I've started making some what I call elixirs, which are tinctures blended with herbal infused honey. Nice. That I get from neighbors whose honeybees are all over the farm all summer.
So you don't do honey here yourself, then?
We are not. We did not this year. We do sometimes have hives.
Oh, awesome.
We always have one available that if there's a swarm, then we can, capture a swarm or people will bring us a swarm.
Sure. Nice.
We used to do more of that.
Okay.
We're trying to make things a little more sustainable. We
sure.
have a very short, intense growing season up here.
Yeah, I would imagine.
North.
Yeah. So why don't we go down memory lane a little bit? I'd love to hear about like the early days of Seeds and Spores Farm. And I read in your bio, the About Us page on your website, which, can you remind me what it is? Seedsandspores.com?
Seedsandspores.com.
All right, lovely. We'll include
which we haven't read that bio probably for 10 years, so I hope it's okay.
No, it was a fun little story. But basically you were saying, in the bio, you were saying you started small, and then you just learned along the way. So I was just kind of curious, what were the early days like? And then maybe kind of take us to the present day.
Sure. My husband, Jeff, who you met, we we went to college together and kind of started getting interested in food and food politics back in the day, and really wanted to eat good food. And we learned a lot about food being, along the way. And when I was in medical school, he started growing some food, very small scale. We started experimenting with, we knew we were going to live somewhere in the north probably. And he, in the little house we rented, he set up a organic hydroponic system just to see how that would go. But we quickly realized that we really needed the earth to grow food. So yeah, it was a slow progression. We moved to Marquette in '97, and I did a family practice residency here. And the first piece of land we bought actually had been my grandfather's. And that's where we started inoculating a lot of shiitake logs. We tried a lot of medicinal herbs and failed miserably in those first bits. There was an apple orchard there, and those were the first gardens. And that's, we ended up having to sell that property to buy this farm. And it's just kind of been a slow progression along the way. We've definitely decided to diversify so that we could sell everything locally.
Yeah.
So everything that we're growing here is going right into the community, which has kind of been our goal.
Just a quick break from the show to thank our presenting sponsor, Oshala Farm. Oshala Farm is a beautiful and vibrant certified organic herb farm based in Southern Oregon, where they grow and sell over 80 different plant species. The founders, Elise and Jeff Higley, have been longtime friends, so I highly trust their growing methods and ethics. You'll love the potency and vibrancy of all the herbs they have to offer. To learn more and purchase their herbs and other organic goods, head to oshalafarm.com. So thanks once again to Oshala Farm for sponsoring the Herbalist Hour. Now back to the show. Enjoy. Are you Dr. Hatfield?
I am.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
That's my party trick.
Do you still practice on occasion?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
still have a
That's your party trick? I like that. That's funny. Yeah, I don't think I read that about you anywhere.
No, well,
so
that's good. I mean,
awesome.
it's just not something that I...
Dr. Farmer.
Yeah, I actually worked in a family practice clinic for 10 years after I finished my residency here. And then I stopped to be more full-time on the farm and be with the kids and homeschooled them. And so now I do still see patients, but they come to my office on the farm.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing the journey. Pre-interview, you and Jeff were talking about your relationship with the food co-op around here, and I was kind of thinking the audience would find that interesting as well, how you kind of grew together.
So one of the, when we were looking for a place for me to attend a residency, we wanted to, at that point, we knew we wanted to grow food, and we wanted to go somewhere to a community where we wanted to stay.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was this little Marquette food co-op, and that was on our list of things that we needed in a town.
Yeah.
And when we first started, we could sell them 1 box of produce per week, and that was a tiny little co-op. We were certified organic, and then it has slowly grown since then. Both Jeff and I were on the board at the time, and he helped manage one of the first expansions, and they've been a huge supporter of us. And now you're going to get to go there today, and you'll be able to check out how big the produce department is.
Is it more than 1 box worth?
Lots and lots of boxes. And you'll get to actually see when we go back down, because we're packing an order for them today.
Nice.
I can show you, this is what we're bringing to them today.
Totally. That'd be awesome.
And then,
Yeah, so stay tuned, dear listener. We're going to go on a farm tour here in a bit. So, but before we do that, you all, I want to say, used to be certified organic, and now you have organic practices. I'm just kind of curious if you could tell the audience why you chose not to be certified organic anymore, and just that whole explanation.
Sure, yeah. I think it's a great question because to be certified organic, it takes a lot of paperwork and a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if we would have chosen to want to sell our products elsewhere, I think that would have been continuing to be an important thing.
Yeah.
But, became our mission right away. Like, oh no, we're going to grow what we can sell here in this community. Yeah. And we're very transparent about what we do. And, we've been at the farmers markets now for 25 years. People know us. They know what we do. They know the quality. They know the energetics of the food. And so we dropped that certification. And another reason, when we first were certified organic, there was more structure to it. Yeah. And now you can be certified organic and not really have the same organic practices. Yeah. So, Jeff likes to say we're beyond organic. We dabble with some, biodynamics. Sure. We do a lot of regenerative type things. We make a lot of compost. And so we have a constant, nutrient supply that we're producing that we can, add back in. And yeah. And we were certified naturally grown for a while. That was like a little intermediary, and that's a smaller certification.
Is it easier to acquire as well?
It's easier to acquire, and it's farmer to farmer certified. So another certified naturally grown farmer would come to your farm, and then you had to go to a different farm. But there aren't that many up here. And most people just didn't know what it meant. Yeah. So we were kind of trying to support this fledgling. This is but we kind of just don't do any of that. Yeah. And some of it, we're running this farm and there's a lot to do, and we just talk to the people.
Good. Yeah, and I hope that didn't sound like a gotcha question. No. Or I totally love that you don't need to be certified organic, because at this point it's just the brand is so well received in the community that everyone already knows the quality of farming that you all do. So why even bother at that point?
Yeah, and I think that the herb stuff is newer to a lot of people, but they're kind of catching on to that as well. Yeah. And I mean, as you know, there's a lot of not very high quality herbal products being sold or imported,
but marketed incredibly well.
And it makes it hard to market because we're not a glossy farm.
Right. Yeah.
And it's hard to compete with those advertising dollars or those types of fancy labels or this and that. And, but it is getting a little more popular. Yeah. And we sell transplants too. We sell a lot of those in the spring. So, nice. Each year more people are asking me for medicinal transplants. And that's kind of a fun thing as well.
Awesome. Well, why don't we go take a look at the farm, check out what's happening here in mid-October.
Yeah, we've had our first frost. Our growing season is, it can frost in mid-June. Yeah. This year it didn't. We say June 1st to October 1st is our growing season.
Okay. We'll have to come back and do a round two with you.
A round two when it's just in full bloom.
Exactly. Feel the buzz of the pollinators. And,
oh my gosh, there's so many. If you're here on a summer day, you would not think that there's a pollinator issue.
Right.
And we've been here long enough that we've seen the increase in biodiversity right here on the farm, which is really rewarding to see how much healthier it is. This farm had been abandoned. It hadn't been farmed, I don't think, since the 70s.
Oh, wow.
And when we took it over, and so it's been pretty fun to watch that progression.
Absolutely. Well, let's check it out.
Yeah, let's go.
Cool. All right, so if you didn't hear in the beginning and the introduction of this podcast episode, we're actually omitting the audio from the farm tour. We feel like it's best watched on our YouTube channel so you can see the full video. If you want to see the farm tour portion, which is about 25 minutes, I will leave a link in the podcast show notes, and you can just watch the video there. Otherwise, here is the rest of the interview with Leanne Hatfield. Thanks for listening. Thank you for that farm tour. That was lovely. I'm kind of curious about your herbalism background. Again, we saw you at the Great Lakes Herb Fair. You're growing herbs. You're making herbal products. Did you study herbalism formally at all?
Not formally. Yeah. I kind of got into herbalism through food, and just connection with food, and then spending time out just in nature and getting to know. I love identifying, plants. Sure. And then it's oh wow. So it kind of got me down that road. I started reading more about herbalism actually when I was in med school, and I was like learning this pharmaceutical method of medicine, and then I'm reading about herbal medicine, and so I've kind of figured out how to combine one background with another. And the Great Lakes Herb Fair was I wanted to go for years, but it's hard to get down there. I mean, for me, it was 7.5 hours, and and it's like a busy time of the year, September.
Yeah. I have to ask, since I have you here, have you ever been on that ferry from Milwaukee to the other side?
No.
Okay, we were debating that, but it's super expensive, and I think it would have taken us longer anyways to get there.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, any herbal, not mentors per se, since you didn't study formally, but like from books or online, are there any mentors that you kind of, herbal teachers that you kind of keep going back to?
One, we used to go to, now it's called Marble Seed, but we used to go to the Moses, which is an organic farming conference.
When I worked for Mountain Rose Herbs, we sponsored that event every year. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so that's where I met Linda Conroy and Jane Holly Stevens back in the day. And so just to know that there were other people doing that was really cool. And Linda's, as you know, she founded the Midwest Women Herbal Conference, and I've been going to that for, 10, 11 years.
Oh,
or
awesome.
So.
Very cool.
And so that's where I've met a lot of the herbalists that then I've, chosen to either do other coursework or, getting their books and things like that.
That event's been going on for a long time.
It's been probably about...
At least a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably about 14 years
or
so. I'm
yeah.
not sure.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, she's in our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And then Jane Holly Stevens, I actually just have been communicating with her. She's going to be on the Herbalist Hour soon. So yeah, I've never met her, but I'm excited.
She was at the Great Lakes Herb Fair.
Really? Oh,
yes.
Okay. Well, we missed her.
Yeah.
Hi, Jane. Excited to have you on the show.
So, I mean, they were really great for me to meet because they were like local, more local people, since, there wasn't a lot of that going on up
There's
here.
herbalists everywhere.
It's just like connecting with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming from, Eugene, Oregon, where it seems like there's an herbalist on every street corner, but I wasn't sure what to expect when I came out to the Midwest, but there's just as many herbalists, totally.
I had done some studying with Rosita Arvigo.
Oh, nice.
And the one thing that was really interesting is that I was excited to learn some of the herbal things that she was doing, but I didn't really ever end up connecting to it. Mm-hmm. And it's just because I didn't know the plants.
Right.
But I didn't know that at the time. I just remember wanting to know more, or even like, I just couldn't connect in that way. So,
as in she was using plants that were kind of foreign to you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I live in the North. It's a very different, it's a different place. And it's just fun to know that there are plants growing all over that have similar, medicinal properties.
Totally.
And so the ones here are really important,
Yep.
For me.
Absolutely.
And probably for the people living here, I like having them, I like teaching people about things that are growing here or what they can grow here.
Right.
And if someone's really connected to a plant or really it's helping them, like I want them to grow it for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's kind of wrap things up. Kind of curious, what do you love about the Upper Peninsula? Because I got to say, like, going to Wisconsin, totally fell in love with Wisconsin. And then driving north, I'm like, oh man, it's just so beautiful. Mm-hmm. I really love the people and the culture. Just being at Black Rock's Brewery last night, I was like, it's just such good vibes. And so I could totally see how someone would just fall in love with this area. But from your perspective.
So, it's almost hard to answer because there's so many things I love about it. I love that it's left off of a lot of maps. Which is kind of a joke in this community, but there are sometimes where it's not even on the map. I think that's pretty cool. But all four of my grandparents and both my parents were born and raised in the UP. So as a kid, my summer vacations to visit the grandparents were coming to the UP.
Okay.
And so it's always been very special to me in that way. But, we were looking for community, and, we moved here and we found so many folks that we just loved.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really hearty and unique and hardworking, resilient folks up here.
Totally. With winter coming, this will be like my first real Midwest winter. Do you get excited for winter, and kind of, if so, why?
I love winter.
Okay. Does it mean like you get a rest?
I'm learning that.
Yeah.
That's a new skill.
Sure.
Learning to rest a little bit in the winter. In previous years, I'd go from farming to homeschooling, and so it was never really that much of a rest. But now that I'm not doing that anymore, learning some of that. But I'm a very avid backcountry skier.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And so I can strap on my skis and go out my front door and ski as long as I want.
What do you love about cross-country skiing? And also, do you do snowshoeing?
I do have snowshoes, but I definitely am more of a skier than a snowshoer.
Okay.
And I love that in the winter I can go to different places on our land that I can't really access as well during the summer.
Yeah.
And so, I can ski up and down along the river, and in the summer it's very overgrown, or the mosquitoes are really bad, and, we're really busy on the farm. So I love that. And every time it snows, it's like a reset. Yeah. And I love making trails through the snow, because it's just like reset.
Yeah.
Reset.
I can't wait. Yeah, I think we're gonna dabble with a little snowshoeing. Maybe I'll give cross-country skiing a try. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems like there might be a higher barrier to entry with that one. Like you need all the proper equipment or something. But
yeah, maybe. But
maybe. Okay.
It's I love gliding over the surface of the earth. It's kind of like swimming.
Yeah.
But.
All right, you sold me. I'll give it a shot. Awesome. Well, do you have any, post-winter, do you have any like exciting projects coming up for the farm, or just anything you're excited about in general?
Oh, man.
The to-do list is never ending, I'm sure.
Right. The to-do list is never ending. We're excited to just kind of come to this like next level about what do we want to do next? How do we want to steer the farm? Yeah. We've been working 7 days a week since for
you need a winter break.
So just kind of recreating it and making sure that we're doing all the things we're really passionate about. All of the herbal stuff is really my gig.
Totally.
And so it might be nice to have someone help me do that a little bit. Yeah. But in the winter time, that's when I get to like press all the tinctures, or like get things ready for like the next season, or blend all the teas that I've been drying all season.
Are you looking for an apprentice?
Potentially.
Okay. All right.
Potentially. We'll just kind of have to see. Those are all things we're kind of figuring out. Yeah. We're also trying to get a little more into education and teaching now, because we're kind of at that stage now. Like, okay, we've done this for a long time. Yeah. We have a lot of things to share.
Totally.
A lot of unique perspectives with our different backgrounds.
Well, I remember talking to Elise and Jeff Higley, Oshala Farm. Shout out Oshala Farm, presenting sponsor of the Herbalist Hour. I remember they were passionately talking about there needs to be like an herb farming conference. I don't know if anything ever came to fruition with that, but you seem like someone who would be a great teacher.
Yes.
And Jeff as well. So
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, let's get that rolling. Let's create a
and Jane Holly Stevens too.
Okay. Okay, I just remembered a question I wanted to ask you, so I want to make sure to squeeze this in there. For the budding herbalist that's interested in farming as a lifestyle or career path, do you have any advice for that person?
I would say start small.
Yeah.
And
such good advice.
Start, and just have faith.
Yeah.
That you can keep doing it, and also don't take the weather personally.
Especially if you're in Marquette.
Every year some things do great and other things don't. Yeah. And so diversify.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think that, that's kind of how we've done our farm. And it's the true with some of the herbs, like some years you're like, wow, that just is doing so great. And, and something else is like, wow, that didn't do so well.
Totally.
But I mean, it's so fun.
You have a genuine fun time doing this work.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love it. And because I have the least amount of time to spend on the herb portion, it makes it extra special. I love like every Saturday coming back from the market, I always kind of do my little tour and go walk around a little bit and kind of get a little mental picture of what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I think because of having these the way that our farm is set up, like I can be watching something and say like, oh, this is peak. I need to get this harvested. And if I miss it, it's usually growing somewhere else that I'll have another chance and it will kind of show up.
It's magic.
It is pretty magic.
Yeah. So diversify and start small. That's just good life advice in general. And I have to say that I give people the same recommendation because that's kind of how Herb Rally was. You start super small and build over time.
Yeah,
so,
small and sustainable.
That's right.
And speaking of magic, I just like to say Robin Rose Bennett has been a huge influence to make sure that the magic part is there, magic and ritual, which is really important for someone like myself who's come from a constituent-based herbalism
doctor
practice to like embracing, all of it.
I love it. I just interviewed Robin Rose Bennett, and I
you?
adore her.
I adore her as well.
She's one of my favorites for sure. So
I first met her about like 10 years ago.
Wow.
And
me too.
She and my daughter kind of developed a special relationship, and so she's just very dear.
I will leave a link in the podcast show notes. She just came out with a new book. I don't know if you saw that or not, but it's all about the magic. So, okay. You ordered it. All right, good. Sweet. Well, thank you for joining me on the Herbalist Hour, joining all of us on the Herbalist Hour. Did you have any closing thoughts or anything you want to say to the audience? You?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Just going to put you on the spot.
Well, thank you for what you're doing.
Of course.
And it seems to me like a really fun job that you've created yourself.
Yeah, I like this.
To be able to go and meet and hear everybody's unique stories.
Totally. Yeah.
Because everyone's on a different path, but all kind of with this similar, get the plants out there.
Yeah, it's been really nice to get to meet all the different perspectives of the herbalists, and I think this might be one of our first few times we've interviewed a farmer. And I wanted to say, when you were giving the advice to the budding farmer, potential farmer, you said it brought to mind when I asked other herbalists like what their herbal business advice is, or what would they like to see more of in the herbal world, and they say we need more herbal farmers. So I can't really speak to that because I'm not an herb farmer myself, and I'm not sure what the business side of that looks like. But I will say that if your heart's calling you to do it, you can be a very vibrant person like Leanne here and Jeff. They're doing awesome work. Every time you hang out at a farm like this, you just feel like the buzz of life and everything. So great work, and thanks for sharing all that you did today.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Awesome. See you in the next episode.
And that's going to do it for today's episode. Thanks so much for listening to the Herb Rally podcast. If you'd like to hear more from us here at Herb Rally, we now have a text message community, believe it or not. Basically, it's just updates from us. We send about 1 to 7 texts per week, notifying you about new events, videos, courses, podcasts. You get the idea. It's pretty much like our email newsletter, just in text form. So if you'd like to receive text messages from Herb Rally, just text JOIN, that's JOIN, to the number 541-256-2895. Again, that's JOIN to number 541-256-2895. And to stop receiving texts, that's easy too. Just text STOP to the same number. It'll opt you out immediately. Okay, thanks again for listening. Have a great rest of your day.